The year is 1973. The United States is undergoing a period of transformation. The Vietnam War is drawing to an end, the Watergate scandal is making headlines, and disco music begins to capture the nation's spirit. But amidst these pivotal moments in history, a personal dream is about to be realized in a quiet corner of the American heartland. Jim Ryan, a man with grease under his nails, passion in his heart, and an unyielding love for Chevrolet. Since his childhood days, when he would gawk at the shimmering beauties in showrooms, he knew that one day he'd be more than just a spectator. He'd be at the helm of his very own Chevrolet dealership. In 1973, that dream turned to reality.
I don't remember him talking about owning a dealership until I was older. And like I'm talking, for me, probably junior high is when he would start saying, you know, when I own my own dealership. When, you know, that's when you started to hear, and it was like, oh. By the time I was in high school, I mean, we knew that his end goal was going to be that he was going to own a dealership.
It was like Chevrolet and then GM. GM was the Buick, Pontiac, GMC, all those other ones. But Chevrolet was the big one. Chevrolet was the main...
it was the big dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was always Chevrolet rather than GM.
In our life, it was always Chevrolet, period.
Right.
That's what it was.
And I think it was partly because that was what his dad had worked for a Chevrolet dealership. So he just gravitated to Chevrolet. And so, you know, he loved it. He loved Chevrolet. Mm-hmm.
But beyond the showrooms and sales, who was Mr. Ryan, the man?
I have gone away to college. Now I'm getting married and I'm finally moving home, and I'm kind of excited. It's been 5 years and I'm excited to move home. And like 3 months later, my dad says, well, we just bought a store in Minot, North Dakota, and your mother and I are leaving. I was so sad. I was just devastated by it because I'm ready to be around them and they're going away. And so that was my reaction to them buying a store. Totally selfish, but there it is.
At the age of 54, when most contemplate retirement, Jim Ryan took a leap of faith. He purchased the Minot dealership, a move many deemed risky, but it was a testament to who Mr. Ryan truly was.
When he first said he was buying the dealership in Minot, I wasn't all excited about it. In my opinion, it was like my whole life just blew up because, you know, I was 18, what do I know?
I was I was at college, and it was just, well, that's what it is. Okay. I really didn't have any strong feelings one way or the other. You know, they're selling our family home and they're moving away. So life was going to be different. It was never going to be the same. You weren't, you know, going to go home anymore. But I don't remember having any strong feelings one way or the other.
Despite the reservations about the Minot purchase and the monumental change at 54, one thing was universally clear. There was never any doubt that Mr. Ryan was all in and that he was the right person for the job.
Mr. Ryan was a very aggressive individual, and I remember one year he went out to Montana. He bought 40-some pickups and brought them back, and we thought, well, he was absolutely, man alive, 40 pickups, and we sold every one of them. He was a very fine gentleman.
Learned from my grandpa, hard work. Hard work was the biggest thing. He usually was the first one here, and he was the last one to leave, and his energy, like he was walking through this dealership all the time, talking to his employees, asking them how they're doing, having conversations about how they can be better. And for me, it was his hard work and his energy.
Probably the biggest takeaway I have from my grandpa is at one point early in my career as a salesperson, I was down visiting him in Florida, and he talked about the willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. If you're going to ask somebody to do something, you have to be willing to do it yourself first and show them that you're willing to do it yourself first. That's how you earn respect, and when you have respect, people will work hard for you.
The one biggest thing is dignity and respect, and respecting all the other people that worked or were with you and around you. It's that was a big one for him, is respect people all the time. Treat people the way you want to be treated was one of his things that he always said when we were growing up, and that was the biggest thing that I've learned from my grandpa.
Grandpa was one of the hardest workers you've ever seen.
He worked right with us.
Yeah, he didn't leave early.
He worked right with us.
Yeah, and I think he worked till like 8 o'clock at
Oh,
night
yeah.
almost every night. He'd go home and have dinner and walk back and then walk home at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you never know what time you could come here at 10 o'clock at night and he'd be here.
When it was time for dinner, that he went home, walked home and had dinner with Grandma, and then he would sometimes have to go back again, but he always went home. So it was always making sure that you had that time for family as well. But he certainly put in the time and the effort that needed to be.
Grandpa never asked you to do anything he wouldn't do himself.
Well, that's absolutely true.
So if you were out there picking up cigarette butts, you know for sure that he picked up cigarette butts at least a couple times with you. So
Finding something that is your passion in life. I just remember thinking that was something that not everybody gets to have, and that you aspire to it. He worked for what he had, but like that he really seemed to genuinely love it, like that he enjoyed it, and that he was trying to pass that on.
While many fondly recall the magnanimity of Mr. Ryan, there are countless cherished memories from those early days working under his leadership. The man was unforgettable, but so were the moments.
At one time, I talked to him. I wanted to buy a house, and our rule was you could not take your vacation pay unless you took vacation. So he was walking home, and I kind of needed a little money to close this loan, and that's what I had was less than a little money. And so Jim was walking, and I said, "Jim, you want to ride?" Nope. So he said, I said, "Yeah, I got to ask you a favor." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "Is there any chance I get my vacation pay without taking vacation?" He said, "Bill, we just don't do that. I want you to have time off." I said, "Oh, we're trying to buy a house." He said, "Okay, I'll have a check ready for you Monday." I didn't even get the whole sentence out. And that's how we bought our first house, was with his help.
We had little jobs, odds and ends to do all the time. It was, especially in the summer, when there would be big sales, it would be selling hot dogs or going around and just making sure everything was picked up and ready.
I enjoyed, for whatever reason, selling hot dogs and popcorn, or giving hot dogs and popcorn away. I don't know why, but I always enjoyed it.
I liked doing the hot dogs. I did not like doing the popcorn because I always burnt my hand. Like, I always did. I don't know why I couldn't figure it out.
I think the two of them were treated with kid gloves a little bit, because my first memory when you asked the question is I never had the opportunity to sell popcorn or give away hot dogs. I picked weeds. Probably around my 15 or 16 year mark, I graduated to scraping and painting the building at Chevrolet, which was quite a promotion for me, as you can imagine.
Well, we had to be here every morning at 8 a.m. We worked 8 to 3 and 3 to 9, right? But you had to be here at 8 a.m. every day, even if you're doing on a 4-till.
And you better be wearing a green blazer.
Add a shirt, add a tie,
Add a shirt and
and
a
you better
tie.
be ready to go to work.
I remember when they remodeled, it was a big deal. It was sad, kind of, that the green carpet was going to go away.
because the green carpet matched the green jackets the salesman wore. So
The parts department won a trip to England. So Alan Johnson and I went up to Mr. Ryan's office, and he said, "Pick a number between 1 and 10. Alan said 3, and I said 6, and he said it was 7. I got to go to London for a week with my wife. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was.
Sometimes when I would help her, you would do something, Grandma and Grandpa would take you across the street to Rax.
Rax.
Yep.
Do you remember that? And you got
Best
to
place
have
ever.
the salad bar. Could have whatever you wanted.
I think that was payment for cleaning up the
Yeah,
the
it
lot.
was. That was.
It was
That's how we
also
got paid.
payment for the letters, right? So after you'd fold the letters, then you'd get to walk across and you'd get your Rax roast beef sandwich as your payment for sitting there and
Your
stuffing
payment for
envelopes.
doing anything,
Yeah,
picking up a
yeah.
cigarette butts, doing any of that stuff.
Nachos.
Was
Do you remember
get,
the
oh yeah, you get to
nachos?
go eat lunch with grandpa.
nachos.
Oh, the nachos.
And you know what's funny is I didn't know this, but did you know that Mike Kelly Sr. was the manager of the Rax at the time?
He was?
And he would see Grandpa walking across, and he would say, "Get Mr. Ryan's roast beef ready." And Grandpa got the freshest sandwich and fries because they made fresh for him when Mike would see Grandpa come walking across the street.
The actual scene, his name on a sign with the Chevrolet logo was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
It was. Because he had dreamed about it
Yep.
for a long time. Probably way longer than we actually know. But I know.
Oh, I know when that sign went up, when his name went up on that sign. That was a big deal.
It was a big deal. And it was a big deal for both my mom and my dad, because my mom knew that he was realizing a dream. And, again, she was the rock right behind him all the time. So, his dream was her dream too.
Jim Ryan's passion for Chevrolet and his dream of owning a dealership were undeniable, but his heart extended far beyond the showroom floor, reaching deep into the fabric of the community he loved.
He wanted to be part of the community and was part of the community from how I understand it right out of the gate. And he always said, Minot takes care of us so well, we need to in return take care of Minot and the community. Whatever community you're in, you need to be involved. And I feel it all the time. I go places and I see, well, what could we do there? Or what would we be able to help with here? And whether it's small, with our Jeans Day Fridays, and we're going to gather some, community shower events or whatever it may be, or it's big like the pancake breakfast or the teacher appreciation. It's just being involved and making sure that we're taking care of the community.
I think that being involved in the community is a responsibility for everybody. Having the time or creating the time, as Mr. Ryan would do, because he didn't really have time, having 5 children and the same place of business, but he created the time. And I think that it again, it goes back to networking and having those relationships. I think that the more time you provide to the community, the more you get back from the community. I think that there's so many people in need in various ways. I think that what Mr. Ryan taught us was that you will get back tenfold of what you give. I think that that's just what Mr. Ryan strived for, was giving of his time and willingness to make Minot as good a place as he possibly could.
He always told us is that Minot has been so good to me, I need to give back to Minot. So he was always trying to find ways that he would be able to support the community and be able to give back to the people that helped him be successful. And that's how he always viewed it. And he talked repeatedly to Mike and I about giving back to the community, take care of the people that have taken care of you. And that's just been something he always said.
While Mr. Ryan's deep-rooted commitment to the community was evident, it was the enduring partnerships he forged that truly showcased the scope of his impact. Since the inception of Ryan Family Dealerships in 1973, a legacy of collaboration was born, partnering with esteemed organizations such as the Disabled American Veterans, Minot Hockey Boosters, Trinity Health Foundation, Commission on Aging, Minot State University, Bishop Ryan Catholic School, the United Way, and Farm Rescue.
Ryan Family Dealerships has been an important part of Bishop Ryan Catholic School all the way from the beginning, going back to Jim and Ann Ryan, and now in the second and third generation of leadership at Ryan Family Dealerships. And it's an important relationship for us because they really help us to expand our possibilities in terms of the education we're able to provide for our kids here at Bishop Ryan. So it's an important relationship.
Ryan Family Dealerships has impacted the Trinity Health Foundation in really tremendous ways over many years. I think they are always there supporting us. They've come up with some unique ideas and creative things to be able to support our staff and our patients and healthcare across the 20-county region that we serve. Anywhere from our cancer exercise rehab program to purchasing new ambulances, and most recently, a new outdoor chapel space at our new healthcare campus and medical district.
Ryan Family Dealerships has impacted us in so many ways at Minot State. I really can't count all of them, to tell you the truth, but just simply in this building, just recently, the seating project wouldn't have happened without them. Our video board, you look up here in the north end, that's a $750,000 video board. The seating project is a $3 million project, and they were a big part of that. Look at our football stadium, you look at Ann Nelson Hall. They were a big part of that project, renovation several years ago. Summer Theater this past year, their fingerprints are all over it. So the impact they've had for Minot State is just immense, and we're so fortunate to have a community partner like that.
Ryan Family Dealership has impacted our program. It's a huge expense off of our shoulders for when you guys purchase the jerseys. The kids absolutely love going there. I see kids now for the past 25 years that still wear their jerseys. It's pretty cool, you know. Like I see the jerseys everywhere, from 4 years old till they're in high school.
When Ryan Family Dealerships shows up to pack food for our Backpack Buddies program and they come and help us feed local kids, we notice how well they work together as a family. They really, really enjoy what they're doing, and you can tell that by the smiles and the chatter that happens in the group.
Ryan Family has been part of Minot Commission on Aging for many years, and it began in 1975. They gave us our first meal delivery truck, and we used that vehicle up until 2008, 2009, somewhere in there, and finally had to get rid of it. But so they've been doing part of services for Minot Commission on Aging for a long, long time.
The Ryan Family Dealerships have impacted the DAV immensely. They represent a third of our funding for the year. They're the most generous people in the world. They're always giving. Anything we have going on, all I got to do is make a call, and they're going to be behind us, and they're going to support us.
The relationship with Ryan Family Dealership and Farm Rescue has been instrumental. Having the Chevy pickups to be able to get us from location to location and get our volunteers out into the field, of course, is fundamental. But on the other side, also getting the word out about Farm Rescue, letting people, family members know, and rural communities know of who we are and what we're out there doing. Ryan Family being able to have those pickups, having the decals on the side, is instrumental. It's like a rolling billboard in a sense, but just the logistics of it has been phenomenal. We couldn't be happier with the partnership with Ryan Family Dealership.
From the humble beginnings with Jim and Ann Ryan's vision, a deep-rooted commitment to the Minot community was established. Yet, as the community bonds grew, so too did the ambitions for the Ryan Family Dealerships. Amidst this growth, Mike and Kathy Gaddy began working for the dealership in the 80s, chartering a path for the dealership's next era.
I started in May of 1983. I was going through NADA Dealer Candidate Academy at the time, and that required me to work in every department 2 months at a time and go to school for a week in between. And that's how I got my education in the car business, my big start of my education.
He was in business, okay, so that, but not the car business. So it was having the business acumen, but trying to understand the nuances of the car business. Meanwhile, I'm at home and trying to convince 3 children that this was a good move. We uprooted them and brought them to Minot, North Dakota so that Dad could have an opportunity. So I stayed with them for 2 years, and then I decided that I needed to do something, and so I started making customer satisfaction calls. So I was the person that called you and said, you had your car in for service, and I just wanted to know how we did, and sometimes we were wonderful, and sometimes we weren't. And so that's how I started.
Mike, with a seasoned business background, stepped into the world of automobiles, eager to grasp its nuances and dynamics. Kathy, with her innate ability to connect, initially focused on customer satisfaction calls, ensuring each patron felt valued and heard. As the 80s progressed, it seemed the natural course for Mr. Ryan to consider passing the torch to Mike. After all, it was 1983, a time when the business realm was predominantly male-led. The very notion of a woman at the helm was unconventional.
It is now 1983, and we haven't progressed very far in the world of women in automotive, because it wasn't like he said, these women can't figure this out or these women can't do it. It's just, it never even occurred to him because it just didn't happen. He went and talked to Mike, who had been in business, and said, I've been working really hard here for 10 years, and I would like to see it continue.
Mike and Kathy were fully immersed, playing pivotal roles in the daily operations of the dealership. But as time pressed on, Mr. Ryan faced the inevitable moment of stepping back. The question arose, to whom would he entrust the future of the business he had nurtured for so long?
It is now 1996. And not only have Mike and I have been working very hard in the business, but now the dreaded estate planning and all of that is going to start. And he asked me to be the dealer.
In that pivotal moment, Mr. Ryan did more than just pass on the leadership of a dealership. He recognized and championed the strength and capability of a woman in an industry where male leadership was the norm. This wasn't merely about entrusting his daughter, but rather the absolute faith in the partnership Kathy and Mike had built. Mr. Ryan's decision wasn't just personal, it was groundbreaking in its own right.
In 1996, I applied and was approved by Chevrolet Motor Division to be the dealer operator of Jim Ryan Chevrolet.
While Mr. Ryan's decision was transformative, the journey ahead for Mike and Kathy would not be easy. But for Kathy, the challenges she faced held deeper layers. Being a female dealer in a predominantly male-driven industry meant that the road wasn't always easy. Yet, Kathy's determination shone brightest when she would walk into those conferences, often being the only woman in the room.
When we talk about the evolution of women, you're right. I mean, I would go to a Chevrolet meeting. Maybe there might be one more woman in the room. And that was challenging. I mean, even as I was getting ready, and I was a sales manager, I mean, I would have people say to me, I don't want to deal with a woman. And so we would have to bring a different sales manager in because they just wouldn't deal with it. So it has been all of those things that you had to accept and keep working very diligently on to get yourself so that they even wanted to listen to what you had to say.
While Kathy faced the challenges head-on and carved a space for herself in the automotive world, the journey of Ryan Family Dealerships was also evolving. As the new millennium dawned and Mr. Ryan stepped into retirement in 2000, a new era of growth and expansion began. The legacy was not just to be maintained, but expanded upon.
2000 is really when Dad retired, and so we were in it, and we were kind of on top of each other. There just wasn't enough. And so that's when Mike and I looked at each other and said, we need to find another store. And it has to be in Minot because we both live here. When Dad had Chevrolet and Toyota in the same building, they had made the decision that they didn't want an import store in the same building as a General Motors store. They went to Jim and said, you have to get rid of Toyota. And my dad was so loyal to Chevrolet, instead of just saying, yeah, no, he did.
Jim Ryan's allegiance to GM was evident when he made the bold move to part ways with Toyota, aligning himself even more closely with General Motors. Yet, when General Motors considered awarding the GMC line to another local dealer, a dealer who, when presented with a similar ultimatum to relinquish an import brand, chose not to comply, it was a moment of reckoning.
So I started writing letters, and I told him, I said, I don't think you know the history here. I don't think you know what we have done for you. I don't think you understand the loyalty of what my father has done. And by gosh, we deserve that GMC brand. And they awarded us the GMC store.
The addition of GMC was the catalyst. Following its success, the family ventured into Ryan Nissan, Ryan Honda, and Ryan Motors in Williston.
In 2005, we had some visitors put a store across from our Chevrolet store from Williston, and a used car store. And
it's kind of like poking the bear.
Yeah, kind of prompted me to go looking in Williston, and so yeah, we found a store there, a used car store. And in 2007, we had an opportunity to buy the Chrysler Honda store in Williston. I think a year or two later, we ended up melding the two stores together, and we ended up selling the property that the used car store was on. And
the energy certainly went from Mr. Ryan to Mrs. Gaddy. She has energy like I've never seen.
Kathy took what her dad, from her dad. She got, she was aggressive, and they didn't want anybody walking. That was the saying, nobody walks from Ryan.
Kathy and Mike have been a solid team forever. It takes a lot of guts to keep buying brands and expanding, and Kathy and Mike have that.
A lot of it was, as we were going through it, is that we had each other. We would talk and we would strategize and we would try and figure out how we're gonna do this.
Kathy's words echo a testament of partnership, a bond between her and Mike that went beyond business. Their alliance wasn't just born out of mutual respect, but of necessity. They faced monumental challenges together. National tragedies like 9/11, the devastating repercussions of the 2008 housing crash, the record river flood of 2011, the sudden stop to North Dakota's oil boom of 2016, and the worldwide crisis of the COVID pandemic. Alongside these external adversities, they grappled with the unique dynamics and challenges intrinsic to running a family business.
It's messy. It's messy. I don't want you to think that
family and business
is messy.
Yeah,
but I'm very proud of us, and I'm not just saying us. I'm saying that whole generation. They're working hard to try and separate the two and be able to enjoy each other.
When you're in business with family, if you can't be honest with each other, it's really hard to do business. Honesty hurts, but it's good and it hurts all at the same time. So, but if you're not honest with each other, it's really hard to run a business.
Pressure from family? No. Obligation? Sometimes. When you watch Grandpa work, I worked with Mr. Ryan in the office, so we knew it was always a family business.
My grandpa always wanted to see family members in the car business. He was a very family-driven man and wanted us to be in it if we wanted to be in it.
You go to work every day, and that's just part of your life. And so the opportunity to work and be for something like a family and know that you're creating and moving forward together is special.
Navigating the nuances of a family business is no simple task. Mike and Kathy's leadership was distinguished by their ability to embrace and elevate every team member. Their dedication fortified the business and allowed not only family to succeed, but hundreds of irreplaceable team members outside of the family. As the next generation steps forward, a legacy enriched by the collective efforts of many points to a promising future for the Ryan family dealerships.
Like Grandpa has always done, he has always set things up for growth, I feel like, in his mind, always setting it up for the opportunity to be able to grow and make things bigger. And I bet he's thrilled that Mr. and Mrs. Gaddy took the opportunity and grew it to where it is. And I'm pretty sure he's sitting there looking down at us and going, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to end up doing. So it's exciting to see. I'm excited to see what the future holds for us. And it's going to be big. It's going to be great.
The leadership team that we've got in place now, the transition from Mr. and Mrs. Gaddy to Mary and Shane and John and Chris, I think they recognize that. The future belongs to their children. And they intend to be in this business and perhaps even to have their children be in this business. So I think they're going to stay out front as much as is humanly possible of the changes that are going to take place.
It's not easy. Expansion is not easy, especially when you have a firmly entrenched home base, as most of us do here in Minot. As John says, and I know Mary feels very strongly, we have every intention of growing. That this thing has blossomed, fivefold since Mr. and Mrs. Gaddy, mom and dad, took over. And I think it's our responsibility and our goal to carry that forward.
The journey of Ryan Family Dealerships is a testament to vision, perseverance, and the strength of family bonds. As we look ahead, the promise of continuity and progress under the guidance of the next generation shines brightly. But as we reflect on the foundation of this legacy, we circle back to the heart of it all, to Mr. Jim Ryan, the pioneer whose love for Chevrolet ignited this legacy.
I think about all the people that I've worked with over the years and the amount of pride we had and the amount of pride everybody had in the store for working for Jim Ryan Chevrolet back in the day. And when we went out in public, when we went out together as a group, I mean, we were proud that we worked for Jim Ryan, and we were proud we were salesmen or parts guys or whatever we did. I still have that pride.
I spent so many nights at Mr. Ryan's house, my grandma and grandpa's, and my parents would be sitting there and the kids would go play someplace and there would be, a drink poured and just work talk. And I would usually sit there for a while because I just wanted to hear what they were talking about. I know that he always knew it would grow. I always knew that he just had faith in this place, that it could be bigger and it could be better and that it would take care of the community. But growing to 5 stores, growing to, 5 stores and a used car store, I don't know if that was his dream. I just know that he knew it would grow.
When you think of Dad, the two things that always come to mind would be the sign that he got to see his name on a Chevrolet store. The other thing that it was very important to him is that he was still working when we hit the 25-year mark. Like, he retired very shortly after that, but that was a big deal for him, is he wanted to still be active in the business at 25 years.
But what do I say to Mr. Ryan is I just wanted to say thank you to him. Everything he's done has opened opportunities for all of us and gave us the chance for a lot of opportunities in our lives. And I'm pretty sure I said thank you to him, but I don't know if I ever sat down and looked him square in the eyes and said, Grandpa, thank you for everything that you've done.
If I was going to say anything else with my sisters right here, I have been so fortunate because I have never, if there has ever been a thought in any of my sisters' minds, they have never verbalized it. They have never given me 1 minute of feeling anything but complete and total support for what we have tried to do. And I will be forever grateful that my sisters have been there for me and have supported me through this journey. They have been wonderful, and I would like to say that. I don't know that we can ever express how grateful we are. Minot and Williston have been extremely good to us. They have supported us through all of these years, through 50 years. And we have tried very hard to be good to them also. And so I just want to thank Minot, I want to thank Williston, but I think most importantly, I want to thank all of those people who have trusted us. We wanted to take care of them because they have done very well for us.